What's up? I'm Seth with Urban Lumber and Road School of Life. This is my bus. Check it out. It's a 1989 International on a Bluebird body. Alright, so we've just finished a 5-month trip in what we call ULFA, the bus, from the Colfax School District. Just came down from Oregon through California into Baja, Mexico for 2.5 months, back up into the Southwest, riding bikes and hiking all around Utah and Idaho, back to Oregon again with my family, my wife and 2 kids, doing road school for the 5 months. So this is kind of the living room in the bus. This is the part where we hang out most probably. Got our bar here, which was great for meals and doing homework for the kids. We're doing homeschool on the road, or road school as we like to call it. It's pretty cool to be able to pull up to a new place and have a new view, whether it's beach or mountains or something fresh. That's one of the cool things about a bus too. All these windows we left, there's 20 some windows, so we always had a great view and a nice breeze coming through. On this side is our sofa. It's just a good spot to hang out, whether we're hosting friends for a little dinner party or just chilling out here. We could watch a movie on the couch. This is also where the rest of the family usually rode. I put seat belts mounted through the floor into the frame that come out on the couch here, so this is where they were riding most of the time. I put in USB charging ports and drink holders here, so this was kind of comfy going down the road. Yeah, big storage underneath. Everything's got big deep drawers. So we put in a ton of storage, not only in this place, but the whole rest of the kitchen behind me. We've got like 19 drawers and 5 cabinets, which turns out to be just a little more storage that I have in my house at home. This doesn't pull out into a bed. We've slept people on it in a pinch. But we didn't want to have to convert things back and forth all the time and be picking up our blankets every morning. I made the kids their own bunk spaces so that could be their room and they could keep it the way they like, and this way we just keep this open and clean. So this part of the bus I wanted to make as big as possible, or feel as big as possible, since I knew we'd be hanging out here a lot. Didn't want it to get cluttered right off the bat. This bar is a live edge black walnut. This is some wood that I milled from a locally salvaged city tree. That's part of my business at Urban Lumber Company. I used the same type of material for the bar stools, even leaving a little bit of the live edge here and there. Taught my 12-year-old son how to weld, and he actually did a lot of the welding on the frames of these bar stools, so that was pretty cool. Got the curtains up here, which are nice. They're double insulated. I broke out my sewing machine and sewed those up kind of last minute. Gives it that kind of camp roll vibe, and they work really well when it's sunny or cold out. We can roll those down, and it helps insulate the bus, since these old school single pane windows aren't the most efficient. Yeah, I've got a TV up here, so we would use my phone as a Wi-Fi hotspot, and we'd be watching Netflix in comfort on the couch and hanging out, which was pretty cool. That's all part of the electrical system that I put in, the solar system. So it was pretty cool to be able to have like efficient LED 12-volt lighting and different gear, but also 120-volt AC household power for the TV, the refrigerator, the coffee maker, appliances like that, which all runs off solar. Yeah, so being a woodworker, I wanted to highlight some cool wood in here. I was trying not to overdo it, but I used this pretty neat old reclaimed spruce snow fencing from Colorado. And it's got that just cool patina that only years of weather can provide. There's some gray and some brown, and it's pretty rough, but I try to randomly mix it all in. Looks cool, complements the floor, and contrasts well with the rest of the white walls and white cabinetry. Making our way into the kitchen. That was a huge part for us, was to have a nice, comfortable kitchen with lots of space. We like to cook and eat a lot, and being out on the road for a long time, we were on a budget, so we were cooking most of our own food. So we've got lots of counter space, which was one thing the bar was good for. Nice 3-burner cooktop. We decided to go without an oven just for space. We really don't even use our oven at home that much. We like to barbecue a lot, so I did a lot of that outside. But that was great for the cooking area. On this side, one of the things that made it super comfortable was having a full-size sink. Everybody's got to wash dishes, and it's nice to have a real size sink, not necessarily an RV sink. Also put in a apartment size fridge, which is a household size fridge, and that was great. Had a big freezer. We were able to really stock up, and kept us out longer to go way out into the beach and hang out, where we could have fresh food and cold ice and ice cream, and occasionally even stock up our freezer with fresh fish. So that's the kitchen. Also underneath we've got the microwave over here, and right below it is a propane fired instant hot water heater, a tankless water heater, which was super cool. We have hot water in about 2 or 3 seconds. Never runs out as long as we have water, and we have a 100-gallon storage tank underneath for fresh water, so we could make that last for as long as a month. That's all of our drinking, cooking, all of our water for washing. So that was pretty cool to have the hot water heater, both for kitchen dishes and stuff, but showers, and it was really nice. Yeah, so here in the kitchen you could see our solar controller. It's a monitor for our battery charger slash inverter, so I can see exactly what's going on with how the battery's charging. I can turn off both the 12 volt and the 120 volt circuits here if I need to. This little control helps me dial in the amps that I would draw if I wanted to plug in anywhere. The inverter would make up the difference. Right below here we've got the battery monitor as well, and this also pairs with a Bluetooth capability, so I can monitor it on my phone with an app, so I can see exactly how much solar's coming in, how long we have at that rate, what the temperature is, like all the information about the solar and the batteries, which was super cool. That all came from AM Solar in Springfield, which is a cool local company doing RV solar specialists, and it was awesome. They helped me out a bunch. Yeah, so another thing we put in was a propane furnace out of an RV, which I rigged up on a thermostat, so that was really nice. We didn't use it much because we were mostly in warm weather on our trip over the last 6 months, but a couple cold nights up in the mountains, it was sweet to turn that on at a certain temperature and have it come on and off over the night, keep us warm, and just another one of the little creature comforts, make us want to all stay in here as long as possible. Here in the kitchen, all of our drawers have soft close, really nice drawer slide hardware that pulls it in. I put in these upper storage mounts too. Were really nice to have the extra space up here. This was like deep storage for us. It's live edge walnut. You can see the grain runs all the way through on each side, backed with hot rolled steel, which is magnetic, so we can able to latch it. It was cool to have this space, and one of the reasons I was able to do that was with the roof raise that I did. I raised the whole roof of the bus 16 inches, which was a pretty big job, but it was worth it. It makes it feel way bigger in here. It gives us more storage. Also brought the windows up 16 inches, so now they're at eye level. We can see out and helps with the view. So yeah, the storage was key, fitting all of our stuff in here. And the upper mounts were another way for me to kind of show off the woodwork and tie it in with the counters and some of the other trim. Yeah, you don't see a microwave much in a tiny house or a bus, and it's pretty cool that it's off solar. We can't run it a ton of time, but our inverter and our battery setup is big enough where when we're fully charged and we have sun that we could run the microwave. So it was really nice to be able to reheat something on the go fast. One of the crazy things about living in your bus is, you know, we could be driving somewhere and it happens to be lunchtime and we could pull off and just make a bunch of food and clean up and just be on the road still fast and not have to stop and have a good meal. So yeah, the microwave, toaster, coffee maker, some of those appliances are super nice to just plug into an outlet just like at home and use. Not too much, and again, I can monitor it with that in real time with that Bluetooth setup. So I could literally be microwaving something and looking at my batteries and seeing what that's going to do and how long I could do it for. I wouldn't be able to run the microwave all day, but to heat up a quesadilla or something, it was no big deal. Same thing with the fridge. The fridge runs off 120 volt, just regular household power. It's a household fridge. And that was probably our biggest draw, but the solar kept up with it the whole time. One of the things we would do is keep a milk jug full of frozen water in the freezer, and at night we would take that out of the freezer and put it in the fridge, turn down the temperature control just a little bit so the fridge wasn't really running at all at night when we didn't have solar, and that helped a bunch, you know, help us keep pretty charged overnight. Yeah, just one of those little hacks that helps out and helps save power. We didn't do it all the time. If we had long, hot, sunny days and were fully charged, it didn't really make a difference, but sometimes after it had been cloudy for a couple days or we'd been using a lot of extra power, we would do that and it helped. Yeah, so these self-closing hinges worked really well for the most part, but when we got down into Baja with fully loaded drawers, bumping around on washboard roads and down dry creek beds and stuff, occasionally they'd come apart. So we had to kind of do this on the road fix. I made these little snap locks which really worked pretty well compared to even like child locks or some of the little magnetic catches that don't really hold. These worked really well, and it ties in with our same theme as our curtains up here that I made those as well. All right, so this is the kids' bedroom area, their bunks, which was probably one of the more challenging things about the bus, just trying to figure out the layout and the space. It had a lot to do with how much I raised the roof and how much space they would each have. I wanted my kids to feel like they had their own kind of rooms. So I wanted it to be important that they could sit up and they had enough room lengthwise to have some of their extra stuff in here. I set them up with, they each have a reading light, night light that's like touch to turn on, which is pretty cool. That's up here. They also each have their own USB charging stations, which I placed around throughout the bus. So they felt pretty at home here. They had their curtains they can close up and have some privacy. They each decorated it with stickers and artwork and some of their own things. Put in these climbing holds for my son to get up to his bunk, and he helped place them, so he kept climbing and he'd tell me where to go, and then him and I mounted him in here. So that was a big feature that everybody likes. I can climb it. They're heavy duty, I don't know, but they're legit climbing holds bolted through with the appropriate hardware, so I think they could hold just about anybody. Yeah, so they also each had a big super deep drawer down here, hold all their stuff, pulls all the way out. They also had each 2 drawers over here. This is kind of our pantry area where we keep all of our food stuff, and it's big and deep, goes floor to ceiling. So we had a lot of food we could hold in these big deep drawers. Same thing with the self-closing hardware, just a little touch makes it nice. Yeah, they've got just a little bit of storage at the foot of their beds. They've got their own shelving unit, so they could keep their books and maps and a few toys. You know, it's pretty easy to tell who's who. My son's got his baseball glove and his handmade ukulele in there, and my daughter's got her Legos and her stuffed animals and stuff to color with. So it's just personalized, and they liked it. Yeah, they've got their own windows. This was the one area in the bus where I left one window low and one window high, as opposed to bringing them all up with the roof raised so that my daughter could have her own window down there. Yeah, it's a lot like, people compare it to like a train car bunk, or maybe like a bunk in a ship. It's kind of small, but it's personalized and cozy for them. So moving down, getting to the bathroom area. I separated the bathroom on both sides of the hallway. Part of that was because of where the wheel wells lie in the bus, and we had to work around those. And that's another one of the things about building a bus or any kind of vehicle compared to just straight building a house. You have to think about all the mechanical systems that you have to work around. And the wheel wells are on this portion of the bus. So on this side, the shower floor goes over the wheel well. And this side, it goes kind of right underneath the bottom of this bunk into the toilet area. Got my shower over here. We used to have a camp trailer that had a tiny little shower that for me was tough. The shower head was really low and it was so small, it was like degrading for me to take a shower. I'd do it in a pinch, but it wasn't a great experience. So being a big guy and again having a whole family in here, I wanted to have a nice comfortable big shower. And with that instant hot water heater, and also I put in a 14-gallon pressure tank into my water system that keeps constant even pressure. The shower works awesome. So I put in a full 32 by 32 size shower pan, custom made a galvanized shower surround, lined the walls and the ceiling with old reclaimed red cedar that I milled up from some old school salvaged utility poles. And the shower's really nice. It's got its own max air fan on a remote control, so that's really nice. We can dial that in for exhaust or cooling. It closes up with these sliding pocket doors that I built, these kind of barn style doors. They're framed out in burly silver maple with hot rolled steel panels, so that's pretty nice for those. Across the hall on the other side is the water closet room with our separate composting toilet. So that's a waterless toilet. It's made in Sweden. Worked amazing. We love it. No smell, really easy maintenance, really easy to take care of. Helped us save a ton of water. And again, that's on its own door over here. Each bathroom area has got a vanity with a mirror. This one's got its own window. In the Toilet area, we've got a really cool corner sink, which is nice for hand washing and a little storage, and people really dig the look of that, and it was just kind of a custom little installation. I was cursing it at the time because I'm a professional woodworker. I build all kinds of crazy stuff, and this little tiny corner sink vanity was a challenge. I spent way too much time on it, but it came out cool. I wouldn't change too much. Well, I kind of made everything here as narrow as possible, just because the nature of the size of the bunks and the size of the shower pan makes this our narrowest spot in the whole bus. And I didn't want it to get any narrower in the middle, but that meant that this side had to be kind of narrow too. So it's fine, it works. I guess I'm kind of limited by how big a bus is, but it would be nice if I had a little more space in here. Otherwise, it worked really well, and it was really nice to have the separate rooms. We would use this area as, when we weren't using it as a shower, as kind of a catch-all and also a changing room. So this is an area where the kids could go to have a little privacy to change their clothes and do their thing in here. So that worked out really well. You can shower forever as long as you have water. The water heater will keep pumping it out. It never runs out like a traditional heater. So 100 gallons of water with a fresh full tank, you could shower and shower. When we would get on the road and out between water stops, we'd have to take, conservative showers, but it was nice to have. Okay, so back here is the master suite. We've got a queen bed back here. This is my wife and I's room. Another one of these pocket doors that pulls out of the wall here that match these two. This is a great space back here. Just windows all the way around. 2 emergency exit doors back here, which were really great. We could throw open and let the breeze flow through on a nice warm night. More of that red cedar paneling on the ceiling. Inside the bedroom here, on each side, we kind of have his and hers closet space with hanging areas for clothes hangers to hang, some cubbies for stacking clothes, and then big deep drawers again under the bed. This is a cool spot back here because we'd always kind of back up and line it up over the water or up against, sometimes over a canyon with this big overhang we have behind our tires. And we could be out just looking like we're floating out in space, which is cool, waking up to the sunrise or seeing the sunset. This is always kind of the strategic spot where we would place the bus when we pulled into a new place. And it's pretty cool. That's one of the great things about living nomadically and living on the road. Your scenery can change and you get to experience $1 million views on a tight budget. So it's pretty cool. This is a queen size bed. It's regular full queen mattress as opposed to like an RV size queen, so it was really comfortable. More storage space up above and below. We could keep all kinds of gear back here. Underneath the bed from the outside, you can get in through the emergency exit door back there, and it's a big vast space underneath, so we would call that our garage, and keep our lawn chairs and our paddleboard and motorcycle helmets and kind of big stuff that would fit under here. Yeah, so back here, another nice feature on each of our side of the bed, I put in another one of those nice touch reading lights. Also, we each have our own USB port so we could charge our devices and read and be comfortable back here. Cool, so outside here is all my electrical gear. I fitted in one of these under storage mount boxes that came standard on the bus. So I've got 2 big deep cycle AGM batteries. They're 400 amp hours each at 6 volts. The big Victron 2000 watt inverter charger, all the solar charge controllers, the appropriate switches and fuses, the 120 volt sub panel and main breaker, all the 12 volt stuff is under here. So I put all my wiring through the bus before it was insulated and the walls were built out. So everything ran through a big conduit into here. It's all got a little bit of strain relief so it can come out on this big drawer slide that I built, so I can bring it out to service it and inspect it. Works amazing. I'm super happy with this gear. Again, like, big shout out to AM Solar in Springfield. They helped me out a ton. They're super knowledgeable and helpful. Helped me get all this stuff set up and working awesome for the trip. Probably our plumbing system and our electrical system just is what I'm most proud of. Even though you don't see it as much, it came out really sweet and made us really comfortable. I have 3 160 watt solar panels on top, so 480 watts, which doesn't seem like a lot, but with this battery combo and inverter setup, it was plenty for us. And it's also, this stuff is sized big enough to be able to add panels as needed later. But for our trip in the Southwest and down in Mexico, it worked really well. I'm really happy with the solar system. I think down the road I may end up adding panels to it, and like I said, it's all sized appropriately to be able to do that. Even the wire that I pulled and the spaces that are available in some of the converter boxes are there for more panels, and I think that might help in the future. Yeah, we've got an outdoor shower out here behind this little box. That was really cool. We didn't use it a ton, but when we did, it was nice because it's all plumbed into the hot water and the whole water system. So we could go surfing, get out of the surf, be all cold, getting out of a wetsuit, and take a nice hot shower, get the sand and the salt off, or even just, you know, rinsing off a muddy bike, stuff like that. It was really helpful to have that. And also pretty cool to be in a totally wild spot and have the world as your shower stall. It's pretty cool. Nothing particular about the artwork, just kind of went freestyle on it one day. We've got this big canvas as a bus, you know, and with the roof raise and some of these windows we filled in for the shower and the refrigerator and the closet space, it just seemed like a big canvas that needed something. So just kind of did some mountain graphics as kind of our scenery. It's kind of funny, I just did this freehand one day, and probably 3 or 4 weeks later we happened to be in Utah, in Park City, Utah, and the bus was parked, and I looked up at the hills behind it, and it pretty much had the same outline with 4 peaks like that staggered. It was kind of weird. So on the back of the bus here, I stopped the roof raise in the back because I didn't want to have to cut through both my exit doors and this angled panel back here. So to fill the space, I put in a rooftop deck, and that was a really cool spot. It's got live edge, big wide cedar plank decking up there. Nice ladder to get up, and so we could hang out up there and check out the sunset, you know, have some hors d'oeuvres and just chill out with a lawn chair. It was an awesome place to be, and it's 10 feet up there, so we get a lot better view. Back underneath the bus back here, there's this big storage section that goes all the way across to the other side that came with the bus. It's kind of rare. I think this was maybe a high school bus, and I could picture like the football team throwing all their gear and stuff in there, but we've got a full-size giant semi-truck spare tire in there, all my spare parts and tools. Barbecue is in there. We've got a big gray water tank from the shower, propane tanks, all that stuff fits in there with extra storage space. So that was pretty awesome. So over here on this side, another one of these big storage boxes happened to fit perfectly this 100-gallon water tank that I found, and I fit it in here so we could lift this up to monitor it. The filling is right over here on this side, so we could hook up to city water or to a water purification plant in Mexico and get this filled up. That's all tied in to, like I said, that pressure tank, which is mounted up underneath, that works really slick. I wasn't sure when I built it if that was even going to work, if like the 12-volt pump and all that stuff would work together, because it's really more of a household system that you would find like in a well. But it worked incredible, and it gives us that even pressure. The pump maybe comes on once a day. The pump's also mounted up under here as opposed to in the bus, so you can barely hear it in the bus. It's super quiet. Plumbing is awesome. I put in 1/2-inch PEX all throughout, so it's really durable, really nice system. This is our outlet for our propane furnace. Cutting out this section of the bus right here, it said Colfax School District. The section I happened to cut out here was OLFA, Olfa, which is where the name came from and the sign inside, so that name kind of stuck. It was just kind of funny and by chance. I didn't really plan it, but it worked out. Back here, tied into my electrical system, is our shore power hookup. We pretty much didn't end up using that at all on our trip because the solar worked so well and we were so off grid and out there, but it's nice to be able to do that if we need to. So up front, I built this rack to mount this XR400, this Honda. It's a sweet dual sport. It's turned out to be like the perfect desert bike. I had it out in the sand and in the mountains, crashing through the OHV parks and trails and beaches of Mexico and all over the place. But I could still jump on here and run into town to get some groceries. It's a great bike. The rack worked out really great on the front since we were towing the car in the back. I could see it up here, and I mounted it straight through the bumper to the frame of the bus with 2 mounts, so it's really sturdy and steady. I had to get it just right so where my headlights would shine out between my fenders and my wheels, so it didn't block anything, and we still had enough airflow to the radiator, but it worked great. Have a little folding ramp that I keep under the bus, and it was easy to get on and off, and I rode this bike a ton. I probably did more dirt biking and motorcycle riding in the last 5 years than I have in the last 10 years before that, so it was great. Yeah, Ulf of the bus, 1989, mechanical DT 466, diesel engine, Allison 643, automatic transmission with a transmission brake, which is pretty cool. Bought this bus specifically for the motor and transmission combo. It was a good era when things were all mechanical, right before they went to computers. So easy to work on, easy to find parts. That was the main motivation for me. One of the cool things about school buses is that they're fleet maintained and they're well built for safety, hauling kids around. Heavy duty chassis, brakes, motors, all that stuff. So we're able to build out a big house on the back and it can handle the weight and be safe going down the road. I do all the driving. Yeah, we just went 6,400 miles. I think my wife drove maybe 2 miles on the back road one time in Mexico, but otherwise I do all the driving. I got my dirt bike on the front and towing a little adventure car in the back. So it's a big rig going down the road. Miles per gallon, I get about 8.5 towing the car, fully loaded. I can get a little better if I'm not towing the car, but it's not so bad for what we have here. It's 26,000 pounds fully loaded, so it's pretty heavy. We tried not to drive too far in one day. Part of the goal of the trip was to take our time and not burn out driving, but occasionally we did like a 6 or 7 hour driving day. The bus really only maxes out about 55 miles an hour, so with a few stops and going that slow, even a 6 or 7 hour day is not that far. Probably 300 mile day is pretty big for us. Sure, so on the front of the bus, I kind of left it all pretty stock and standard. It's got the old school gauges, old school panels over here. Even got the old tape deck still mounted in there that blares out of the loudspeaker that's under the hood. Got my Young MC tape in there for special occasions. We use some of the old switches for some lights and fans and backup camera and stuff like that, but mostly it's all just simple and original. So up here behind the OG mirror where I can spy on my family while I'm driving, got the kind of the yearbook wall, the guest wall we call it. So as we were going around Mexico and around the country, we were meeting all kinds of cool folks, travelers and new friends from all over the place, and showing off the bus a bunch. So it was cool to have people come in and sign in, and some left their contact info. Most people just marked where we were or where they're from. It's cool to see people's signatures from all over the world. It'll help us remember where we went and the people we met. So being the only driver, this is kind of like my little area, my little spot over here. I've got my water and my headphones, got my little puffer fish collection that I found on the beach in Mexico. Little negative skunk, he's always telling me no. So this is just my little area right up front here. Thanks again for checking it out. I'm Seth from Urban Lumber Company. That's my business. We build custom high-end furniture. We built this whole bus out there as kind of a showpiece for that. We can be found there at urbanlumbercompany.com and anywhere on social media at Urban Lumber Co. Also, Road School of Life on social media is the page for this bus and my family's trip and travels, so check that out. You can see what we're up to next, where we're headed, find out more pictures and more information about the bus. Let us know if we can do anything for you or you guys want to connect. I appreciate it. Thank you.